Now, you guys know I really enjoy that show, Lucifer. I love that show. When I first heard the name of it, I was like, I ain't watching that. It sounded like some demonic, like, I'm good. But then I just so happened to see an episode and fell in love with it. It is so campy and so cute and hysterical. It is so fun. And one of the things he always asks people is, what are your desires? I love when he says that. So the other day, I got this deck. It's called the Slutist Tarot. And you guys know when I get a deck in general, I usually start to think of what can I do with this deck? Like, I know I can read tarot with it, but what else can I do? What kind of niche can I put this in? So I was like, you know what? This would be a fun deck when I have clients who want to talk about their sex life. Oftentimes I have clients who want to talk about their sex life or their love life. And I'm like, this would be really fun to use for that. So I'm going to test it out on y'all. You guys are going to be my guinea pig. So Aquarius, this is for you. Aquarius Sun, Aquarius Moon, Aquarius Rising. Today we're going to get some recommendations from the cards about how you can heat up your love life. Now, for some of you Aquarius, you've already done these things or are currently doing them. So for some of you, it may be confirmation, or it may be like, reminding, or remember that thing that you liked last summer? It could be something like that. And for some of you, they're going to be completely shocking. So it just depends, but I'm going to sit here and I'm going to tell you, based on these cards, what are some fun things you can do to heat up your sex life. So let's do the introduction and let's get right into it, Aquarius. My name is QueenAusetHeru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and pass it on to anybody and everybody who might like it as well. Please drop us a positive comment in the comment section. And if you want to get your own personal private reading done, please hit me up, because I can do tarot readings for you. I can also help you out if you want an astrology, like a natal chart or a compatibility chart. All my information is underneath this video, along with everything else. I'll also put underneath here the links to these decks. Anything that's still in print, I'll put the link underneath this video. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so we have 3 piles here, right? This is pile 1. Pile 1 has the Damberite. Pile 2 has the fluorite. The fluorite chips inside of the candy. I love that. I think that is adorable. It's a little candy holder, and you put your little crystal chips in it. And over here we have our mermaid quartz with pile number 3. So the first thing you have to do, Aquarius, is pick your pile. Which one of these piles is really appealing to you, drawing you in? And I am going to tell you what it's talking about. Now, if you're somebody who is celibate like me, or if you're just not interested in, heating up your sex life, this video probably isn't going to entertain you. But you can see how I use these cards, because that part is definitely fun. All right, let's get started. Pile number 1, my Damberite people. All right, so the first card you got is the 2 of Wands. So your very first recommendation to heat up your love life is to consider spankings. The 2 of Wands here, we see she's making a very little suggestive pose, and she is suggesting that she wants to be spanked. So this is, for some of you, you may have tried this already, but for those of you who have not, it's the concept of spanking. Or being spanked. Maybe you want to be spanked, or maybe you want to do the actual spanking. You can use your hand. You can use a riding crop. You could use a flat-headed brush. You could use a whip. There's a lot of number of things you can use. It depends on your partner and your comfortability. Now, mind you, for something like this, I like this. This is fun. But you really need to discuss this with your partner. Any of these, really, if you're watching this video, discuss these with your partner before you just come out with it, you know. But yeah, this would be one of those things. And let me see what else. You can also use other, instruments that you may. I've seen people use a spoon. I've seen them use all kind of things. Personally, I like the hand. I like the flesh on flesh contact. But you can think about that one. So that is your first one. You may also want to consider, this is the Queen of Swords. So when you get the Queen of Swords card, you may want to consider if you're in a relationship that involves a woman or a feminine energy, you may want to flip the script and allow, and a lot of people do this, but you may want to play with letting them dominate you. So if you're a man or you're a more of an aggressive personality, or maybe even not, you may want to just play around with allowing the queen to be dominant, allowing her to hold you down, allowing her to grab you by your throat and push you up against the wall. Let's get into it, okay? Like allowing her to really like dominate you, allow her to, they have this bench I saw one time where you can like be strapped to the bench. So if you're a man, like I said, or even though an aggressive woman, may fall into this category. And if you're not, it may just be playing with that energy, or you yourself being the one who is now being the dominant one. So play around with like the idea of, who's dominant and who's more submissive is what we get from the Queen of Swords. And they take you more into this concept. So obviously you guys, they really are recommending some type of like bondage type situation, because that's what this one is about. It's recommending different types of bondage. So wearing a blindfold, wearing little kinky, bondage outfits, lots of fun. You can get these kind of things at, I know a lot of people tell me AdamandEve.com is really good. And I know that Amazon carries stuff like this. Also chains. Here we have like these chains. They have chains. They have handcuffs. They have all kinds of ropes and things. Again, this is kind of intense. Sexy, but intense. So you definitely need to talk to your partner about this before you just come in the room with some handcuffs and a riding crop. Okay? Have this conversation and see that they're comfortable with it. You also, and I'm going to throw this in. This isn't in the cards, but I'm going to throw this in. Make sure you have a safe word. A safe word is a word that you don't generally say, in everyday conversation. And if the person is uncomfortable, if they're getting scared, if the things are too tight, they can use their safe word. And, because usually when you're doing things like this, you get into like the fantasy, the role play of it. So you might be getting into it and not realize that they really are saying no. They're not playing. They're not just, playing coy. They're really letting you know these things hurt. So the safe word usually for me is something strange, like azul, a word I don't just say all the time, or statue, something just, out of the random, you could use something like Care Bear, something you normally don't say all the time could be your safe word. So pile number one, y'all getting a lot of that kind of energy. Pile number one, let me see what else you got. You got two more cards here. So let's see. You're also getting this. This is very interesting. Check that out. This card, to be a team player card, this card is actually indicating maybe you may want to do some group play. Like 3 people, 4 people, a room full of people. I don't know how you feel about that, but it's another, some people think it's a lot of fun. So it's not something that, not really my thing, but that's something that they're recommending. And let me see if it's something that you would like to try. All right, so a team player. And here's your last card. We have to look this one up. This is the Super Lemon Haze card. So let's see, what does this recommend for our Power 1? Power 1, Oh, I like this one a lot. This one is about appreciating the person's body. So remember, Power One, you can try any of these. You can try all of these, or if you're not feeling them, let check out another Power. Maybe something else resonates with you. But this is about really appreciating their body. I love this one. This one reminds me of Morticia and Gomez. You know how he's always kissing her arm and caressing her and wooing her and making her feel like the most sublime creature in the world. This is saying, Aquarius, that if you do that kind of thing, you'll get more out of your partner, so kiss her, or if it's a guy, rub his back, kiss his neck, like really woo them, and do this in and out the bedroom. This isn't just for sex time, this is for in and out, so that way when it's time to have sex, this person is already ready like Tevin. That's the energy that you want here. All right. Pile number one. Okay. Pile number one, I see you about to light it up. All right. Now we're going to go into pile number two. Let's move this out of the way. All right. Pile number two. What do we... Oh, let's see what we have here. We have quite a few things here for you, pile number two. Pile number two, your first one here is about self-pleasure. Okay, so this is telling you to try different forms of self-pleasure, and this could be anything. This could be watching porn and playing with toys, anything that is by yourself. That's the first one. Different things, and this is good for times when we don't have a partner, or you may be somebody who isn't seeing anybody right now. You may be in between partners, maybe quite some time, but this one is saying to explore different ways of pleasing yourself, touching yourself, enjoying yourself. Toys can be part of this. They don't necessarily have to be. Your hands are good enough, and maybe you want to watch videos where people are self-pleasuring and things like that. That's what this card is all about. This one is interesting. This one here is kind of self-explanatory, but this one here is about finding different ways for oral pleasures. Okay, so this could be cunnilingus, it could be fellatio, it could be that you already do those things and finding interesting ways to make them more fun. Some people like to use all kinds of different devices, all kinds of cock rings, all kinds of creams and jellies and all kinds of stuff. I've seen people use fruit. Of course, you have to be very careful when you're using things near that part of your body. You have to make sure you're not allergic. But I've used all kinds of stuff. And if you go to places we had this place called Condemnation, and Amazon, those kinds of places I mentioned before that sell these kinds of things. A lot of times they have stuff that's especially for sex, especially for the body. Now, I have gotten creative and used things like fruit or whipped cream that were not for the body. I took that chance. So you need to make sure if you choose to take that chance, you know what's going on with your body. But that's what this one is about. It's about doing things orally. 69, all kinds of different things. Tossing the salad. If you don't know any of these terms, Google them. They're all basic slang terms, okay? So those kind of things, but doing things orally is the point. So if you're not already doing that, incorporating more of that in. And if you are already doing that, finding little things you can do with it. Someone was telling me how they put, what was it? It was something she put in her mouth. Was it Mentos? It was Mentos, and somebody else told me about Pop Rocks and putting them in their mouth before they performed an oral act on a gentleman. And I was like, ooh, okay, that sounds like fun. So they're talking about stuff like that. Somebody told me about putting a donut on a gentleman's phallus and eating the donut off. So that's the kind of stuff, that's the kind of energy that's coming from this particular card for pile number 2. We also got some same-sex action. So for any of you who are into that or whatever the case is, we have some exploratory actions going on. Because if you look at these two individuals, let me see. Yeah. Yeah, they seem to be all up in it. So if you're somebody who is open to maybe a threesome, or if you're somebody who's open to like something that's like, you know, same sex, maybe you haven't done that before, maybe that's something that you've been curious about or not, you know, depends on, you know, where your head is with that. But this card is saying to consider that vibration. You guys know I'm a lesbian, so that's that's where I'm at. But it also opens up to like different types of women. Like, you know, if you're somebody who dates women, have you ever been open to trying a relationship with a trans woman, for example? Or have you been open to a relationship with a woman who is not quite your type, maybe a different type of woman? You know, if you're a man and you do date women, that could be what that's about, like trying different types of women. You know, because sometimes we get kind of caught up, maybe a woman of a different culture. Because sometimes we get caught up in our preferences and we're dating the same type of woman over and over. So maybe for you, it's a different type of woman. All right, pile 2. Let's see what else you get. Move over. Here we go. Pile 2. This one is yours. Repeating cycles. So repeating cycles, this card is about trying things you tried in the past and maybe really enjoy but haven't done again. Or it's about trying things, you know, giving them another try. So like, let's say, for example, you tried something and it really didn't work out. You tried bondage and you couldn't get the handcuffs off, and by the time you did, you were disinterested, you know, something like that. This is about trying it again. Maybe you're trying it with a different person. Maybe you're trying it with the same person. But it's like trying it again, but trying like to tweak the things that went wrong the last time. So this card is about that. It's about changing something, or like I said before, something that you really did really enjoy, but it's been like 6 years since you did it again. You know, something like that. Like maybe you really like, you know, dressing up as Little Red Riding Hood, for example, but you haven't done that for a long time because you haven't had time or you haven't thought about it. So now it's time to try something that you have already done before and want to do again. Pile 2, Vulcan Fuel is your last card. And Vulcan Fuel says, I don't know where you live at and if cannabis is legal, but if it is, this card is talking about adding that to your sexual practice. Some people say that it enhances their sexual practice. Some people say that it enhances their orgasm. So if you're somebody who has never tried this before, or if you're somebody who loves it, maybe you want to try something different. If you haven't tried it, maybe you want to try it. If you have already done this, maybe you want to try a different strain, because different strains will have different effects. Some strains will make you incredibly aroused. Some strains will make you more aggressive. So if you take a look at the different strains, that might be a way of switching that up for pile number 2. All right, pile number 2. Now we're going to go into pile number 3. Pile number 3, your first card is, ooh, you got the Moon card. Ooh, that's sexy. So this card, let me scooch it over so I can see their face. Ooh, this card is about using costumes. So you want to use like, you know, boots, gloves. Remember I said the Little Red Riding Hood costume, the nurse outfit. There's all kinds of them. There's a little schoolgirl outfit that I wore for Halloween one year. It's all kinds of different little sexy outfits, and you don't have to have a whole outfit on. Look how she just has on boots and gloves. Very sexy. And some earrings, you know. So the idea here is to try a little walk on the wild side. And also she's outside, So I recommend doing, if you're going to be intimate with somebody, I recommend doing it inside. Unless you're somebody that lives somewhere where that kind of thing is legal, because that will get you arrested. So I probably would, me personally, I'd bypass that part. But you can create a nice environment in your bedroom, nice little sexy atmosphere, have the moon coming through the window, something nice like that. So this is giving you that energy of, dressing up and playing with that. And I think that's a lot of fun. This is interesting because this one is telling you to use technology, but not technology like the way that we've seen it, like toys and things, but this is like phone sex. So a lot of times this can be great for foreplay, before you see your significant other and you're on the phone with them, telling them the things you want to do to them or the things you want them to do to you, or texting them little suggestive, maybe you don't want to do nudes. Some people do. A lot of people do. So maybe nudes, or maybe just little suggestive pictures, little sexy pictures, where you're not naked, but you are being very suggestive, So that kind of thing comes from here. And also with technology comes the computer. So cyber sex, type in, little nasty things to each other. And this was really popular when I was younger. And I know a lot of people still do this. They'll sit on the phone or they'll sit on the computer and they will masturbate. They will, with their significant other. Let's say their significant other is in a different country or a different state or away for school or something. And they'll sit and, play with themselves and watch each other on cam. So this is telling you to incorporate some of that type of technology, sit in front of your cam with some, fishnet stockings on and a real sexy outfit while your girlfriend or your boyfriend, is across wherever doing the same thing. I mean, you theoretically could even be in the same home. You could be in your bedroom and they could be in the living room and y'all could be doing this as foreplay to lead up to the sex. So it doesn't necessarily have to just be long distance, So, your boyfriend or your girlfriend may go to the club for the evening and you send them a suggestive photo like, I'm waiting for you to come home. Things like that is what this card is indicating. Lots of fun. And pile 3, this card is interesting because this card is telling you to consider age. Consider an older person or consider a younger person, of course, of age. You know what I'm saying? But let's say, for example, you're 30 and you start to see somebody who's 45. Or you're 50 and you start seeing somebody who's 70, or you're 25 and you start seeing somebody who's 31, So it's that concept of seeing someone who's older than you or younger than you, and this woman is a crone. So I would assume let's say she's about 65, and let's say she's seeing somebody who's 45, 50 years old, 35 years old even. So this card is about playing a little bit with age, in the legal realms. In most countries, 18 and up, Now, me personally, I can't go very young. I'm 46 years old. I could never date somebody who was 20. That's not going to work for me, but that might work for somebody else. Me personally, I would probably rather have someone older. I'd rather have an older woman in my case than a younger woman, but it doesn't matter in which direction it goes. It's telling you to consider maybe that could be something that could be fun for you. Love that suggestion. Let's see. Ooh. Now this one is fun. Things are not what they seem. This one is talking about using masks. I don't know if you guys have ever done this before, ever seen this before, but you can use remember they had the blindfold earlier? They also have masks that you can wear. So this could also be a lot of fun for you. So they have like any kind of like masquerade mask. And they have all kinds of other ones. Remember I talked about places like Condemnation? They have all kinds of masks and things along those lines. So this one is strongly suggesting that you do something like that. Also, what goes along with this is role playing. I'm going to give you a perfect example of something that I was thinking about one day. What about going to a bar? You know, you and your significant other. So let your significant other go into the bar first, be sitting there having a drink by themselves, and you walk in and you both pretend to be other people. So the role play aspect, not what they seem. So you pretend to be Mandy, for example, and have him pretend to be Jack, okay? So you walk in and, you know, Jack is sitting at the bar, and, you know, and you say, hey, how are you? And he buys you a drink, and you role play out meeting this stranger who's really your significant other in a bar. And one of my ideas was to pretend to be a hooker. I thought this would be so much fun, and just walk in and just be like, hey, what's up, you want to party? You know, that kind of concept. Or, you know, whatever your fantasy is, really. That's just a wild idea I came up with. So that idea of role playing and mystery and things not being what they seem. Now your last card pile, number 3, is grapefruit. And the grapefruit card says here, all right, let me see. All right, this card is very interesting. This card is about being more cerebral. So this card is about, this is very Aquarius energy too. You have to really seduce the Aquarius's mind. So that's what this card is about. This card is about seducing their mind, you know, really getting into their head about what they like, you know, coming at them from that kind of standpoint. Because with an Aquarius, sex is never going to be enough. So you have to talk to us about the things that we enjoy. The more that we connect with you spiritually and mentally, the more we're turned on. So this card is telling you, with your lovers, try to connect with them on a mental level, not just physical. All right, guys, there you are. There it is. So go have a good time. Be safe. You know, always practice safe practices. Don't tell nobody no lies. Keep it 100. Keep your body clean, you know, and have some fun. And come back soon, because I have a lot more to say. Bye, Aquarius.